Imagine a weapon system so precise it can hunt down a vessel racing across open waters at 70 miles per hour. Picture military technology that transforms the ocean into a chessboard where every move is watched, calculated, and countered with surgical precision. This is the story of how American forces deployed cutting-edge naval warfare capabilities to dismantle Venezuelan narcotics networks, a tale of advanced surveillance, lethal drones, and a complex geopolitical chess match playing out in the Southern Caribbean. The United States Navy has revolutionized maritime warfare through the deployment of specialized amphibious assault vessels that function remarkably similar to compact aircraft carriers. These floating fortresses serve as launch platforms for unmanned aerial systems capable of being equipped with Hellfire air-to-surface missiles. The guidance systems embedded within these projectiles utilize either semi-active laser targeting or millimeter-wave radar technology, transforming what appears to be a simple drone into an instrument of devastating accuracy. The sophistication of this technology cannot be overstated. These weapon systems possess the capability to acquire, lock onto, and pursue targets traveling at velocities exceeding 100 miles per hour. The precision involved represents years of engineering excellence, where split-second calculations mean the difference between mission success and failure. When comparing naval doctrines, the contrast between American and Venezuelan maritime strategies reveals two entirely different philosophies of sea control. One built on technological supremacy, the other on asymmetric tactics and local knowledge. For several weeks, a coordinated surveillance operation unfolded across the Southern Caribbean. American naval and aerial reconnaissance assets maintained persistent observation of a suspected narcotics transport vessel. This wasn't a random encounter, but rather a meticulously planned component of an intensified counter-narcotics campaign that brought together multiple intelligence sources. The operation synthesized information from satellite imagery, signals intelligence, human intelligence networks, and continuous drone monitoring to build a comprehensive picture of maritime activities connected to drug trafficking organizations. The target vessel itself was a go-fast boat, a specialized watercraft engineered specifically for high-velocity smuggling operations across international waters. These vessels represent the pinnacle of illicit maritime engineering, typically capable of sustaining speeds between 40 and 60 knots, translating to approximately 46 to 69 miles per hour, or 74 to 111 kilometers per hour when cutting through open ocean waters. Their sleek hulls and powerful engines make them formidable adversaries in any maritime pursuit. The critical moment arrived when the vessel departed Venezuelan territorial waters and entered international maritime zones. At this juncture, United States authorities achieved positive identification, confirming the craft as part of a cartel-operated smuggling network. Intelligence assessments attributed the operation to Tren de Aragua, one of Venezuela's most notorious transnational criminal organizations with tentacles reaching across South America. Now let's examine the technical execution of this precision maritime strike. The MQ-9 Reaper unmanned aerial vehicle tasked with this mission was almost certainly deployed from an amphibious naval task force conducting operations throughout the Southern Caribbean theater. This flotilla consisted of multiple warships and embarked Marine expeditionary units engaged in both training exercises and active operational missions. These floating bases provide the essential launch infrastructure and command and control capabilities necessary for extended-range unmanned aerial vehicle operations. The MQ-9 Reaper, a remotely piloted aircraft system controlled by operators potentially thousands of miles distant, maintained continuous tracking of the high-speed target vessel from altitude. Throughout the pursuit, the drone transmitted high-definition video feeds and sensor telemetry data back to command centers and strike coordinators positioned either on shore facilities or aboard naval vessels within the task force. The operational parameters of the MQ-9 are genuinely remarkable. This aircraft can operate at altitudes reaching 50,000 feet while maintaining station over a target area for up to 24 hours continuously. This exceptional endurance provides the persistent surveillance capability required to maintain precise real-time tracking of fast-moving maritime targets across vast expanses of open ocean. Following positive target identification and after receiving authorization at the highest levels of command, including presidential approval, the drone maneuvered into strike position. Closing the distance to optimal firing parameters, the aircraft launched a single AGM-114 Hellfire missile. This highly precise air-to-surface weapon system is specifically engineered to track and engage fast-moving and maneuvering targets with lethal effectiveness. But how exactly does a relatively small missiles successfully track and impact a speedboat racing across the water at nearly 70 miles per hour? The answer lies in sophisticated guidance technology that represents decades of weapon system development. The AGM-114 Hellfire missile employs precision guidance achieved through either semi-active laser designation or millimeter-wave radar technology. This dual-mode capability allows the weapon to accurately acquire and maintain lock on targets even when they're executing high-speed maneuvers across water surfaces. The MQ-9 Reaper drone utilizes advanced onboard sensor suites and targeting pods to maintain continuous target tracking throughout the engagement sequence. After missile launch, real-time information streams from the drone to the weapon, updating its trajectory calculations continuously. The drone's sophisticated computational systems analyze and calculate the boat's velocity vector, heading, and evasive maneuvers in real time. This information feeds into the missile's guidance algorithms, allowing the weapon to predict the target's future position and adjust its flight trajectory to ensure interception. The mathematics involved are staggering in their complexity, yet executed in microseconds. The physics of this engagement heavily favor the weapon system. Hellfire missiles achieve velocities exceeding Mach 1, over 760 miles per hour, or 1,225 kilometers per hour. This tremendous speed advantage allows the missile to rapidly close distance while making fine trajectory adjustments during flight to compensate for target movement. The guidance system continuously compensates for evasive maneuvers by tracking reflected laser energy or radar returns bouncing off the target vessel. As the boat changes direction or speed, the missile's guidance computer constantly recalculates intercept solutions, making minute adjustments to control surfaces that alter the weapon's flight path. During the terminal phase of engagement, the missile achieves final lock on the target's thermal signature or laser designation point, dramatically increasing the probability of a precise and successful impact despite the target's high-speed movement across the water's surface. The true power lies in the synergy between drone and missile. The MQ-9 Reaper's capability to maintain constant visual and sensor tracking of the target provides the missile with essential mid-course guidance updates to ensure highly precise targeting throughout the engagement sequence. This powerful combination, persistent drone surveillance paired with the missile's supersonic speed and active guidance, makes striking fast-moving maritime targets like the Venezuelan speedboat traveling nearly 70 miles per hour not just possible, but highly effective and repeatable. When paired with the MQ-9 Reaper's continuous real-time tracking capability, the missile system accurately follows, anticipates, and destroys fast-moving vessels traveling at speeds approaching 70 miles per hour. From within the climate-controlled command center, this is the reality of modern warfare. The remote pilot uses a thumb-operated control stick to magnify thermal signatures on high-resolution displays, achieving target lock with precision. When authorization is received and the engagement window opens, a trigger mechanism positioned just below the joystick requires only a simple squeeze to launch the weapon, guiding it directly toward its designated target with unerring accuracy. Now, let's put the physical scale of this weapon system into perspective. Imagine standing beside this unmanned aircraft. Its wingspan stretches an impressive 66 feet, longer than two full-size school buses parked side by side. The fuselage extends 36 feet from nose to tail, roughly equivalent to two sport utility vehicles positioned bumper to bumper. When positioned on its landing gear, the aircraft stands 12.5 feet tall, exceeding the height of a regulation basketball hoop. These dimensions underscore the substantial engineering achievement represented by this remotely piloted aircraft system. Operating an MQ-9 Reaper drone requires far more than a single operator. The mission demands coordination between launch crews, ground data terminal technicians, and ground control station personnel working in seamless synchronization. On the ground at forward air bases, often located in austere environments, the launch crew conducts pre-flight preparations. Nearby, ground data terminal systems establish and maintain communication links between the aircraft and operators potentially positioned thousands of miles away on different continents. Then there's the ground control station itself, a dimly illuminated command center where pilots and sensor operators guide the Reaper through its mission profile in the sky above distant battlefields. Picture a sun-scorched airfield situated near an operational theater. Here, maintenance crews fuel the aircraft, execute comprehensive diagnostic checks, and meticulously verify every sensor package and electrical circuit before flight operations commence. When the Reaper's turboprop engine roars to life, there's no pilot seated in a cockpit preparing for takeoff. Instead, it's the technicians working in harsh environmental conditions, helmets secured, hands steady, who send the 10,000-pound unmanned aircraft accelerating down the runway and into the sky. During the takeoff sequence and preparing for high-speed flight, automated hydraulic actuators and servo motors work in coordinated fashion to retract the landing gear smoothly into the aircraft's lower fuselage compartments. This mechanism is engineered for reliability, ensuring the gear assemblies are securely stowed to minimize aerodynamic drag during high-velocity flight operations. As the drone approaches its destination and initiates descent procedures, onboard sensors and flight control systems trigger the reverse sequence. The landing gear deploys in a carefully choreographed sequence. The nose gear extends first to establish proper alignment, followed by the main landing gear emerging from their housing compartments along the aircraft's underside. This coordinated deployment ensures that when the MQ-9 makes contact with the runway, all wheels are correctly positioned to provide stable and safe touchdown even in challenging wind conditions or on damaged runways. How would United States destroyers and carrier strike groups confront both the Venezuelan military and the powerful drug cartels? Let's examine different scenarios and strategic approaches from both adversaries. The U.S. Navy's forward-deployed destroyers, submarines, amphibious warfare ships, embarked marine expeditionary units, and P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft are positioned in proximity to Venezuelan waters with a comprehensive multi-domain strategy designed to simultaneously confront both the Venezuelan military establishment and the powerful narcotics trafficking organizations operating throughout the country. From the American strategic perspective, the operation synthesizes overwhelming surveillance capabilities, precision strike options, rapid amphibious assault forces, and maritime interdiction operations to neutralize threats while applying maximum pressure on the Maduro regime. The guided missile destroyers provide advanced air defense, sea control, and long-range strike capabilities while maintaining readiness to launch precision cruise missile attacks against strategic government installations and military targets deep within Venezuelan territory. By maintaining a vigilant missile defense posture, these warships stand prepared to intercept any hostile airborne or ballistic missile threats. They also leverage sophisticated anti-submarine warfare capabilities to secure the task force's maritime perimeter against underwater threats that could be posed by Venezuelan naval forces. In surface warfare scenarios, the destroyers defend against militia fast boats or Venezuelan naval vessels attempting to disrupt blockade operations or amphibious landings. But how do you actually launch a ground invasion from the sea? The answer lies in amphibious assault ships, specialized warships engineered to deploy and sustain ground combat forces during military operations, particularly in hostile or contested environments. These vessels resemble miniature aircraft carriers in appearance but are primarily focused on launching and recovering helicopters, vertical or short takeoff and landing aircraft such as the MV-22 Osprey tilt-rotor and F-35B Lightning stealth fighter alongside amphibious landing craft. The amphibious ships carry thousands of Marines specifically trained for rapid expeditionary raids and large-scale amphibious assault operations. These Marines would execute precision strikes against cartel strongholds, government command and control nodes, or critical coastal infrastructure. Their specialized urban combat training equips them to rapidly seize airports, communications facilities, and other strategically vital locations, potentially coordinating operations with opposition forces operating inside Venezuela. Enter the nuclear-powered attack submarine, operating covertly and silently along Venezuela's maritime approaches. This underwater platform collects vital strategic intelligence by intercepting communications and monitoring naval movements. It possesses the capability to deliver surprise long-range missile strikes that disrupt regime command structures, suppress air defense networks, or destroy military installations. The submarine's mere presence serves as a powerful deterrent against any third-party naval reinforcements from nations like Russia or Iran, significantly complicating any attempts to bolster the Maduro regime with external military support. The P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft extend the task force's intelligence-gathering reach across vast operational areas. These aircraft conduct continuous intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions penetrating deep into Venezuelan airspace and territorial waters, tracking air defense installations, military force movements, and cartel smuggling operations. These aircraft work in close coordination with surface combatants and underwater naval assets to designate targets for missile strikes and monitor submarine activity throughout the operational theater. They're also equipped for electronic warfare operations capable of disrupting Venezuelan communications networks and command systems, severely limiting the regime's operational responsiveness and decision-making capacity. The presence of a single modern submarine represents an enormous threat to an entire conventional navy, capable of controlling vast ocean areas and striking with devastating effect from complete concealment. How would Venezuela counter American command of the seas? The Venezuelan military establishment and allied cartels prepare to defend the regime and preserve their operational control through a combination of conventional military tactics and asymmetric warfare strategies. The Venezuelan military, though smaller in size and technologically less advanced, relies heavily on intimate knowledge of local geography, layered air defense sites distributed throughout the country, and massive militia mobilization, reportedly numbering over 4.5 million personnel, to counter amphibious assaults and defend critical infrastructure. The military employs coastal patrol craft and naval forces to challenge U.S. naval operations while utilizing missile systems to threaten approaching aircraft and surface vessels attempting to establish sea control. The Venezuelan cartels, deeply intertwined with certain military elements, leverage their familiarity with local terrain, high-speed boats, and establish smuggling networks to complicate maritime interdiction efforts. Their tactics include evading surveillance through irregular routes, blending with civilian maritime traffic, and exploiting the dense jungle terrain for concealment against raid operations. The likely conflict scenario involves layered American efforts to monitor and interdict cartel trafficking operations by leveraging continuous aerial surveillance and naval interdiction, combined with submarine-launched strikes and destroyer-fired missile attacks against regime military infrastructure to systematically degrade their response capabilities. Meanwhile, U.S. amphibious forces would act decisively to seize strategic locations, suppress organized resistance, and isolate Maduro's loyalist military elements from their support networks. Venezuela would mount a hybrid defense combining conventional military resistance with local militia networks conducting asymmetric warfare operations, supplemented by cartel tactics designed to sustain illicit operations and slow American advances through unconventional means. This complex confrontation reflects both sides' strategic imperatives. The United States pushes to systematically dismantle narcotics trafficking networks while exerting regime change pressure through overwhelming technological and tactical superiority. Venezuela relies on numerical militia mobilization, intimate knowledge of terrain and coastline, and asymmetric tactics to counterbalance its significant technological and firepower disadvantages against a far more capable adversary. The future of naval warfare, counter-narcotics operations, and geopolitical power projection continues to evolve with each technological advancement. What we've witnessed here represents just one chapter in an ongoing struggle between state actors and criminal networks across the Caribbean basin. If you found this deep dive into military technology and strategic operations fascinating, make sure to subscribe to IntelX and activate notifications so you never miss our next investigation into the technologies and tactics shaping modern conflict. We deliver original military and intelligence analysis that goes beyond the headlines to reveal how power is actually projected in the 21st century. Hit that subscribe button now and join our community of strategic thinkers.